crazy park. There's people everywhere, and they're making noise. Zane and I are here to just do a little bit of checking out to basically find out what I'm going to be fishing in tomorrow. I chose this spot because it's got deep margins. There's lots of weeds and overhangs, and I know that the fish do get in here. I fished this place before, but never from this area. Probably the closest spot that I've fished to where I am right now on this lake is about 200 yards away, way out at the end of some trees there. So this big secluded bay, I don't think it gets any carp fishing pressure whatsoever. So I have a feeling I should be able to get in some carp in here. Now this place does have a lot of nice small scrappy commons. You know, your average size is going to be between 10 and 12 pounds. A 15 pounder is going to be a good size fish in here. There is mirrors in here though. A pretty good stamp of mirrors compared to most of the places in the region. So where, you know, a lot of the places that we go, you know, getting a mirror is like 200 to 1. Some of the other spots we go, it's like 50 to 1. Here has the potential to be about 30 to 1. I know of at least a dozen different mirrors that have been caught from here. I've had a few myself. Goldie's had some. The one fully scaled that I had, I know of, I think 3 or 4 other people who have actually caught it over the last couple years since I did. So the key thing about where I am right now is that all the carpers stay at the far end, way over to the other side of the lake. They never come over here. That's why I'm here. So Zane and I are gonna cast the deeper around. We're gonna get a look at our depths. We know the margins are relatively deep, but when I know, you know, where I fish in the other places, I know it goes down to like 14 feet. I want to see if that happens in this bay. Then once we've kind of cast around and looked at the spots, we're gonna put some bait out, and hopefully nobody will move in and trash it before I fish it in the morning. I walked through here yesterday. Everything looked great. I'm coming here just now, and there is garbage and toilet paper and just proof that people are savages. So there's definitely going to be a lot of cleanup going on tomorrow. I'll remember to put the garbage bags in the tackle pack. So what do you think, Zane? Should we get this deeper sonar going?
Yep.
Okay, let's get this sonar going.
Too shallow. Oh, it's the water.
So that's our depth. What does it say?
The numbers are going too fast.
Okay, well what is it? Approximately 6, 7?
6 and 7.
6 and 7 feet. Lots of weeds?
What are the weeds? The green one?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's all that. Big. One big boost. Not.
But it's only like 2 rod lengths out, and that's 7 feet deep. And there's an opening in the weeds right there. Look at that.
Yeah. Wait, I thought you said the orange.
Huh?
I thought you said the orange was the weeds.
No, the green stuff is the weeds. The orange is the mud on the bottom.
Okay, then. Yeah, there's a
That's
lot.
5 feet right there in the margin. 4 feet. Okay.
Oh, it's 4.
We've got deep margins.
It's big.
Oh, I just spooked a fish.
Ah, great.
Just swirled right there.
Just spooked a fish.
Okay, so what kind of connection we got there?
Hold up the mud's lower.
Right. So what's the depth? 7 feet?
Yeah. 6.
6 feet? Still lots of weeds?
Yep. 7.
The weed look really thick. Yeah, it does, eh?
A lot. I mean, and it was just, now it's back to 7.
7? Okay.
Yeah, it was 7.
Okay, so we'll put a little bit of bait in on 3 spots for me, and then I put some in the margin in the next little spot over for Dave if he shows up tomorrow. But we're gonna head out. Did some quick marker or scanning with the sonar, looking for little openings in the weeds. There's not much, so I'm hoping that the tiny particles that I put in will help lift some of those weeds up when the fish come in and start grubbing around. But it's we're gonna have to get flying. While Zane was monitoring the sonar screen with my phone, the bucket he was sitting on slid down a little hill and he kind of went upside down in the water. So he's a little bit shaken up. We got to get him home. And what is it you said you wanted as soon as you come out of the water? I need a bath. So we're going to get him home, get him a bath, get him a chance to relax. And yeah, scary moments, but he's safe. And hopefully fishing tomorrow will be all right. Good morning. Well, I'm hoping that the baiting up last night is going to pay off. Good signs so far. And by the way, Zane is completely fine. He was pretty shaken up last night. Kept referring to it as a near-death experience. You know, falling in the water backwards. Yeah, it probably scared the crap out of him, absolutely. But he's completely fine once he had a bath and a cheeseburger. Back to his normal self. But yeah, we were able to get some bait out. Now, going through with the deeper, you know, it basically looked like everything was between 6 and 7 feet, 5 feet in the margin. And of that 6 to 7 feet, like 4 to 5 feet of it were weeds on the sonar. But I could see fizzers up everywhere throughout, and I'm sure there was fish down there in amongst the weeds. And I'm thinking that the weeds probably aren't as thick as the sonar showed. So to start the morning off, I put a solid bag on each of the spots. You know, just the left-hand rod is just under that tree to the left of that snag. That one's fishing nice and tight. The middle rod is straight out, just this side of a clump of weeds, where I spawned the bait out to. And the right-hand rod is just shy of a clump of weeds on this side of a big willow bush that's laying down. I have to tell you, within 15 minutes, 15-20 minutes it took me to get all 3 rods in place and on the pod. They have all had indication. Now, the indication on the right-hand rod, I'm pretty sure, was probably just a catfish. It was more like little tip-taps. But there was a couple of little lifts on the middle rod and several on the left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably do my first hour just as I'm sitting now with solid bags on those spots in the weeds. If nothing happens in that hour, then I will get the baiting spoon and I'll put bait on the left rod and the right rod. No spawn, just loosely thrown out with the spoon, and see if that triggers a response. Got fizzing coming up right in front of me, like 6 feet out from the rod tips. So that's where that 4 to 5 feet of water is right there. I've seen fish rise, but all kind of just past the range that I'm set up to fish. So the middle rod's going to that clump of weeds, and I've seen 2 fish just past that clump. I've seen some way out in the bay over to the right, and one come topping right out by the trees here on the left. So there's definitely carp here in this weedy bay. This may be a spot that needs more pre-bait to open up a few spots. It may take some effort to really figure out how to fish this properly. I don't fish spots this weedy typically, but this year has been all about trying new tactics, new spots, you know, just thinking outside the box and doing what others wouldn't necessarily do. And I think I mentioned yesterday, I don't think any other carpers come into this bay. I think they all stay on the other side where I've always fished, or over to the left, kind of in a little canal section. This used to be a shipyard where they used to build ships. So there's a lot of important history just right here. You know, the trees just to the left, as soon as you go through to the undergrowth, there's big bollards there where the big chains would have, chains and ropes would have held the boats tied up as they were being built right here. So yeah, some really cool history here. And it's full of carp. Just got to figure out exactly how to fish it. I'm gonna have my coffee, enjoy the bird life. There was a bat flying around. He winged me a couple of times, but he seems to have gone away. So yeah, I'm already super excited, really enjoying the tranquility of this little spot. See what we can make happen. Oh my God. It wasn't recording, I was filming birds and frickin' right-hand rod ripped off. All through the weeds. Oh, it's a lot of line out in the weeds. I was filming the birds, and I had a wicked smack on the left. And then I was just trying to zoom in and film some fizzing and bubbling over the middle rod. And the right-hand rod, the bobbin just smacked the blank, and it started peeling line, absolutely peeling it. The fish is all kind of weeded up right here. Snag. Fine with the weeds, just stay out of the tree. Fish is uprooting a lot of weeds, so it might have blown that spot out. Can't see the fish because of all the weeds. Oh my God. It's common. Very, very scrappy fish. Oh, crooked, crooked, crooked. Now it's also telling me that my memory card is almost full. This card was damn near empty yesterday. So, yeah, fish in the net. First fish from a new swim. I'm gonna have to get this camera sorted out. Still getting liners on the middle rod. It really chewed up the weeds to the right, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to get back onto that spot clearly. But I have to tie up another solid bag, so lots to do. I'm going to let him sit in the net and just rest for now while I get everything else sorted. Awesome. I'm not sure if I mentioned it yesterday while we were putting bait in, but your average fish in here is going to be 10 to 14 pounds or so. You know, a 15 pounder is a pretty big fish in here. I know there's some bigger ones in here. I'm just going by what I know has been caught. Looks like going through the weeds, he's pulled a couple scales. I'll have to put some carp care on them. Still very, very scrappy, but a very, very solid fish. Beautiful. Off the mark. First fish from a new swim. I knew that this spot had some good potential because, like I said, nobody else fishes over here, and being a shallow, weedy bay, the fish must have so much in the way of naturals to feed on. Okay, I'm gonna get this fish back. I'm going to tie up a new solid bag and get that going. Oh my. Oh, how wonky is that going to be? Sorry. Try and zoom out. Can't zoom out. Hello. So it's been quiet. Really quiet since that last fish. And I noticed a turtle trying to get up on a stick, so I was trying to film the turtle. But I couldn't get the shot lined up. And just as I started to get it lined up and I could see the turtle, I'm all zoomed in, drop back on the middle rod. That's a little bit better fish. that's a better fish. Oh, geez. Doesn't like the net at all. Almost. Had him in the net 3 times. Whoops. That fish is about a mid-double. I'm happy with that. So with that first fish, I went to try and do a selfie just to get a picture with the fish, and yeah, it turns out when Zane went in the water with my phone yesterday, some water did get in, so the speakers and the microphone won't work, so I can't use my audio commands to actually take a picture. So I'm going to figure something else out, because I definitely want a picture of this fish. But let's get things set up and we'll have a look at it. It's a nice fish, another common. But this one was straight out to that patch of weeds, the middle rod. And I have had indication on the right hand rod since I put it back out. There's a lot of drifting weed there now because of how much has been chewed up. But I put 1 scoop of bait over it. Put another bag out there, and yeah, I've had indication on that rod. No real indication on the middle rod until now, and since that first fish, 0 indication on the left hand rod to the trees. And that was the one that I had kind of put my money on as being the one to get me a fish. So yeah, let's get a look at this one. Right, fish number 2. So the first one, I had that one on a superfruit matching pop-up. So I've been finding that those brown pop-ups have been doing really, really well for me. This fish came to what has clearly been probably the best pop-up flavor that we've been using, and when I say we, I mean like the crew on the DT Canada team. Banana has been absolutely killer this season. Oh, settle down. So he's not a monster, but this is where you're getting to that upper side of average for here. He's got some scars. He's Got a nice big head and some nice big shoulders. Lots of growing left to go on this fish for sure. That's a beauty. Really, really nice fish. It's got those identifiable scars right there on the flank, and then a couple of unique scales along his back here. Might be hard for you to see that, but an identifiable fish that we can watch for as we fish here more. I like that big hump above the head, those big shoulders. Just fish like that, you just know we're going to get a lot bigger. Man, I'm really happy with this session so far. You know, it's not, I think it's just getting close to 8 o'clock in the morning. We've already had 2 fish fishing thick weeds close in. There's a fish just cruising under the surface. I can just see his fin cruising away. Just, oh, that's probably like 60, 70 yards away. But, you know, a swim. Never fished this swim before. Thick weeds, just dropping in little pockets with solid bags. I would have been happy with 1 fish. Had 2. Just using my normal solid bag rigs. You know, supple hook link. I think it's Quarta Supernatural. I've got Quarta Chlor hooks, fished German style with my pop-ups. Yes, super, super excited. Okay, I'm gonna get this fish back after I try to get a photo somehow. And then I've just noticed a knock on the right-hand rod, so might have a chance at another bite here soon. Okay, a little bit of an update. The beautiful sunshine that we've had all morning is disappearing. There is a lot of thick clouds that have come in. I knew there was a slight chance of some weather today, but it didn't really look like it was actually going to happen. And now I'm thinking that maybe. So I've pulled in the left-hand rod. Oh. There's fish on the right. Oh, thick, thick weeds. Let me guess. Shoddy camera work again. So as I was saying, I pulled in the left-hand rod because it hadn't done anything. Hookbait was gone. Looked like crayfish had at it. So I pulled that in, and I got a good look at the rig and the hook, and the hook was actually quite dull as well. So I've just retied a new rig and completely redone that left-hand rod. I just haven't put it back out yet. I was actually going to just show you the rig, and the right-hand rod went. Another small one, probably smaller than the first one was. Clumsy today. I did have a really hard whack on this rod about 20 minutes ago. Just a really hard, solid smack, but nothing else came of it. Another fish in the net, and it looks like the pop-ups that I lost with the first two fish that come off out there, I can see them both in the margin here. I'm gonna have to scoop those up so nobody knows that I've been using pop-ups. Okay. 3 fish. Brand new spot. In very, very weedy conditions. Conditions that I would not normally fish a weedy spot like this. But just plunking solid bags in little pockets, it's doing the job. I am so happy with how today's gone. Lots of weeds. But the weeds are breaking apart really easily with the braid. Absolutely nailed. I lost that pop-up as well. So that's the second fish off the right-hand spot. And the second one to the superfruit matching pop-ups. Stocky, chubby little guy. Probably just a little male. A nice fish. Scrappy little bugger. So yeah, I'm really pleased with how today's gone. You know, it's not been too hot. It's been quite comfortable. Got a little muggy for a little bit, and I started to sweat quite a bit, but then the wind picked up, it passed, and then the cloud cover come in, and it's cooling down again. So, yeah, it's been comfortable. The bird life's been great. I've had 3 fish. You know, still getting indication on the middle rod as well. It's turned out to really surpass my expectations over here. Like I said, I would have been happy with 1 fish just because I've not fished really like this before. I've not really fished in thick weeds where I'm literally dropping it in little pockets. Very calm. There's absolutely no flow and no wind over here to move any scents around. So it's a little bit different from what I'm used to, and I'm actually really enjoying it. So I'm gonna get this little guy back. And then I'll show you the rig that I've put on the left-hand rod before it goes back out. Alright, so before I put that right-hand rod back out, I've got to touch up the hook on that one. But I've almost got this left-hand rod ready to go back under the tree. And I've just slightly changed the hook bait for this one. Indication on the middle rod, the only one that's left in the water. So I've been using solid bags, and it's been working. I don't have any more kind of ready to go, so I'm gonna have to like start fresh. But I think I have a couple of mesh bags left in my bucket. I might just utilize one of those to get this out quick. But instead of just a pop-up on a bait screw, this one, I did a little ring swivel on the hook, a little bit of floss, and just threw on a strawberries and cream pop-up with a little piece of plastic corn, just to give it something slightly different. You know, I'm using like a deep yellow, almost pale brown to the right, using a bright yellow on the middle, and those have both done fish. This rig that was over there had a boilie on it. I was fishing on the bottom, and it looks like a crayfish had done it in. So I want this to pop up a little bit, but not too much. That's why the plastic corn is on there. I don't have any pink wafters, so pink pop up the weight of the hook, and a little bit of plastic corn will help drop that down just a little bit. It won't pop up quite as much. It won't move as much. And then just really supple hook link material to a 2.5 ounce lead PVA bag stem for when they're in the solid bags. But rather than do up a solid bag right now, yeah, I got one mesh bag left in there. So I'm going to quickly get this out. I want to make sure that the hook is protected, which is the point of using a solid bag in weeds like this. But I also don't want it to pick up any weeds going down. And if I just put that stick right on the hook, that can still happen. It can still get tangled up. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to squish that mesh bag up against my lead. I'm going to take some PVA tape, and I'm just going to wrap the snot out of that. I did this before, and it actually worked really well when I was fishing up to a lot of gravel, and I had forgotten my solid bags, because we all know that every time I pre-tie solid bags I tend to forget that pail at home and have to start over. But it was at a point where I just didn't have any solid bags at all. All I had was mesh, and I don't like sliding it down the hook link, so I tried this by wrapping it, and it absolutely worked the charm. So PVA tape, it looks nasty, I get it, but this works really, really well. I'm going to take the hook and just put it through the mesh at the bottom of the mesh bag, past the barb so that the point is out and the barb is not stuck in the mesh. But that'll go out like that. It doesn't look tidy. It looks, well, for lack of a better word, it looks amateur as hell. But trust me, this will go out really well, really clean, and it's going to work just fine. This will get me 2 rods back out there really quick. I can work on that right hand rod, get a new solid bag done up properly, get that back on the spot. So I'm going to get this out now, right back under the tree. Okay, fish number 4. I couldn't quite reach the camera while I was playing this fish. It was a very fast drop back on the middle rod. Just maybe 2 or 3 minutes before the rod went, there was a big boil in the weeds just behind where the spot is. So I'm fishing up to that little wall of weeds. And yeah, it was just on the other side of that, so the back of the wall of weeds. Great big boil. I was like, okay, something's right there. And then yeah, it just a couple minutes later, savage drop back, like the bobbin just hit the deck, and that was the end of it. Once I set into it, the fish just went absolutely crazy all over the place. Settle down, settle down. You know, again, that smaller stamp of fish, like I said, we're not here for for biggins. It's not what this spot's about. I'm here looking for those unique ones like the mirrors. And there is a very special other fish in here that I want to target at some point, but I haven't seen it for a few years. So I'm happy to settle for these little guys. Scrappy little commons for now. It's been quiet. After that guy had his dog jumping in right on the other side of the bush where my left-hand rod is, no indication. Like, I was getting indication as soon as I put that rod in there, and as soon as that happened, all 3 rods just shut right down. No bumps, no beeps, no nothing. And yeah, that was like half an hour ago, 40 minutes ago. Then that boiled behind the weeds and boom, fish. So yeah, 4 fish, solid bags and tight weeds. I don't know how many times I can say it. I'm having a lot of fun doing this. I'm really enjoying this session. I've even got my notebook out. I'm making some notes for future plans for the channel. So I'm trying to stay as productive as possible. But I think at this point now, I'm going to get this fish back, get that middle rod back out, and I think I might stop and have some lunch. Settle down. Okay, he's ready to go back. Yeah. Oh, that's going. Oh. I was just throwing some boilies over the left-hand rod. I completely forgot that I had this going. Oh, I got the whole take and everything. So this fish about the same size or maybe a little bit bigger than the second one. Huge mouth on it. This was a strong fish. Caught me by surprise. Wasn't expecting a run. Okay, I'm gonna let him sit in the net. I'm gonna get back. I had a whole handful of boilies I just threw at my chair, so I'm gonna get all them picked up. I'm gonna keep putting them over the left-hand rod before I get this fish out of the net and have a look at it. Okay, that fish that I fought was out by the middle rod thrashing around, and now I've just had indication on that middle rod. I am enjoying this session. Oh, this is so much fun. Well, he's got the head and the mouth of a 20-pounder, but his body tapers off really quick. He's missing one peck on the other side as well, but what a beautiful fish. Big honking mouth on him. Settle down. There we go. Big old warrior. Funny shapes to him, some battle scars. Like I said, he's missing a fin. Yeah, you see, something got at him that took that fin and scarred up the side of him. Really happy with this. Okay. Whoops. You're supposed to go. There you go. Couldn't see where you were going. Oh, no. Well, that was interesting. Oh, now my phone's ringing. Who is it? Hello? Dave?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't even know you called. I just pulled my phone out of my pocket.
You called me, buddy.
Oh.
And I can prove it because the camera was rolling because I just had a screaming take and lost the fish.
Sorry.
Yeah. So I sat down to tell the camera that, you know, that sucked, and my phone started ringing in my pocket.
Okay. I'm at the park. Is that the completely wrong spot?
Yes, I'm on the other side. You know how to get to where I am?
I'll figure it out. I'll be there in
Okay. So that was kind of funny. Wicked run. Lose the fish in the weeds. Dave calls. He's actually like, he parked way over the other side over there, thinking that that's where I was fishing, because that's where I normally fish. So he's coming around to hang out for a bit. And I just got to look at the hook, and there was actually just this tiny little piece of shell, like a zebra mussel shell or a snail shell. There's just this tiny little piece of shell on the hook point. Now we know why the hook came out. It didn't go in deep enough. But I've been getting a lot of liners on that rod, and absolutely nothing on the left or the right. And then, yeah, I was watching the liners, and you know, there was movement there, and it looked like it was going to go, and it didn't. Then it dropped back, so I turned the camera back on because I kept trying to put it on to catch the run. And as soon as it dropped back, I put the camera on, and it just started peeling off. Yeah. Another fish just come up, just out kind of in between where the middle rod and the right-hand rod are. They've been jumping and they've been boshing over that middle spot. Still absolutely nothing on the left-hand rod. So I'm thinking that they just don't want pink, or they just don't want strawberry. But I'm convinced I can get something out of that spot, so I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to leave that there. It's going to be confusing to edit because now I've got two different cameras going, and I didn't think anything was going to happen there because a canoe, mother and son, they tried to get in here earlier to launch their canoe, but obviously I'm set up, so, you know, no. I was here first. It's only fair, right? So I told them where the next safest spot was to put the canoe in. They went in. They've been out and about for probably 2 hours. But then they come all the way in right on top of my lines. And they went over paddled over 2 of my lines. And they weren't going to turn. They were going to come in here and try and put their canoe in here while I'm still set up. And I stood up and said, listen, you're on my lines. You've got to push out further. And they didn't push out further. They just cruised on by, and now they're out in the middle on the far side. So I thought that disturbance ruined my chance. But no. Freaking peeled off on the middle rod right after there was a canoe on top of it. So the hook's clear now. It's still really sharp. Probably why it went into a shell. And Dave should be here in a few minutes, so I'm going to get that rod set back up, put back in, and hopefully at least one more before the session's over. It'd be nice if Dave brings rods. There's a nice little corner that I've been priming just in on the other side of these trees. Real jungle fishing, like I'm fishing thick weeds but in a nice open swim. 2 rods are going to be tight in there, margin fishing, and like lots of weeds and branches. So if he can set up in there and get a fish, that'll be amazing. So yeah, there's your update for now. Lots of crazy close-up of this. But yeah, that's what's going on. I gotta get this back out. Not there. He's gone. That was a smack, wasn't it? Was it out of nowhere, eh? That was just a quick freaking smack of the bobbin, wasn't it? Rolling. using that right-hand rod.
You got a nice sized bullhead on there?
No, this is a carp. Another small carp, a little darker. Head shaker. Another common. And the middle rods, and that's the 7th bite. And the 4th bite to that middle spot out, straight out. On the banana. Banana. Things fight more under the rod tip in this deep margin than they have been out in the weeds. Damn it! You're too small to be giving me this much tussle.
He's got a nice sized tail on him. Though.
Yeah, like they're all really strong, healthy fish. The last one was like a real warrior, beat up fish, super strong.
Well, that's the one you just recasted, isn't it?
Yeah, this is the one that we just missed that. I had that take on and lost it, and then redid it. Yeah. What? Maybe 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago.
Yeah. Got some nice product placement of the Arizona iced tea. Our sponsorship applications. That's a little bigger than I thought.
It's small. This is probably the smallest of the day. But you saw it, like super scrappy. They've all been scrappy like that.
Does it feel cold?
Cooler, you know,
Yeah.
not warm. But yeah, this is that rod that we just redid. The last 2 runs on this rod come off. One because the hook point was covered. And the last, I don't know why. But, oh. The glasses are covered now. But they're all stocky, healthy fish, right? Like when you look at the back of that, that's a nice, healthy, well-shaped fish, right?
He's got shoulders on him.
Yeah, little shoulders. I think the fish here have the potential to really do well and get big one day, but I think there's so many fish here that there's a lot of competition. So they really don't have the chance to grow huge yet. But, you know, a beautiful specimen, absolutely beautiful fish. Fish number 6 landed. And what, the 7th run or 8th run? Maybe that was the 8th run.
Well, yeah, there was that kind of a weird drop.
Because I lost one, and then we just had one where we missed one. So, yeah, it's for a brand new spot. I really could not have asked for anything better. And yeah, really, really pleased with it. Really healthy looking fish. Great shape to it. Just one last look before I put them back.
Yeah, it's fun to see them all clean again after catching some of those post-spawn fish.
Yeah, really beat up fish. Okay, I'm gonna get this one back. I'm gonna get that rod back out, and then Dave and I are gonna continue on with our conversation.
Okay, out of the way, sweetheart. Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, yeah, I'll just pull through the bushes there. Anything yet? You good?
Yeah, all day.
If I could move right through the bushes there. No, I'll just pull it out. You run home and just grab the truck.
filming that whole thing. Well, it's 20 to 3, so I put in a pretty full day, and yeah, I had a nice visit from Dave, but it's time to pack up. So I think I managed 6 fish and 8 runs, which is really good. Really good session. Could I have done better? Maybe, but I'm pretty happy with how things went. Tying the solid bags got to be a pain in the butt, so it ended up being, you know, wrapping the mesh bag to the lead with the PVA tape and then hooking the hook in the bottom of it. That ended up being what worked. Obviously the solid bags worked, but it was just very time consuming, and because I didn't have other rigs kind of ready to go with more PVA stems, I couldn't pre-tie the solid bags in advance. So I would bring them in, coat it in ground bait, then put it in, and I was ended up getting still moisture on the solid bags as I was putting them together. So it just got to be a hassle. So taping them up, it did the job. The left-hand rod, I've only brought that in and redone it twice today. The second time I brought it in, the hook was actually wrapped upside down. So the first time, brought it in, no hook bait. Put it back out, leave it, bring it in to redo it at like 2 o'clock, just for the last little bit of the day, and the hook was tangled. So basically my left-hand rod, which was my banker rod, the rod that I wanted to catch on the most from under that tree, it was not fishing effectively pretty much all day. The other 2 rods that were, did me a lot of bites. So I think that worked out to be 5 runs off the straight out and 3 runs off the right. Really happy with it. Really good session. Great to catch up with Dave and go over some new ideas for the channel. Yeah, really pleased with how fishing this spot for the first time went. You know, dropping in these pockets of weeds, it did the job. You know, I managed to pull a bunch of fish out, and I couldn't be happier. Absolutely went way beyond the plan, but that's what it takes. Try something new, try something different, change things up to put a little bit more excitement in what you're doing, and you can have a great day. So for now, I'm gonna get all this stuff packed up and head home. I think I'm back out on the bank tomorrow evening after work. I'm not 100% sure. Definitely next Saturday evening. I have from about 4 o'clock on. So yeah, I'm gonna have a few opportunities to get out again. The camera may go with me, it may not, but either way, you'll get updates at some point. So until next time, I'm out.